Otakon 2021, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Otakon was an anime convention held from August 6th to the 8th, 2021 at the Walter E. Washington Convention Center in Washington, D.C. It's been a while since I've been to a con. SetsuCon 2020 to be exact. And, Otakon faced challenges this year. Otakon basically was a shotgun wedding. There were really, really strong implications that there was no intentions of having an Otakon this year. But when Washington, D.C. opened, Otakon basically had to run. There were also financing issues in the back end of Otakon that without an Otakon this year and without substantial fundraising, we might not see an Otakon anymore. So this was a shotgun wedding. Let's see how Otakon did. For the good, the fact that this happened at all is a major achievement. Otakon's staff and organization is excellent. This probably shouldn't have came together with the short amount of time they had, but they pulled it off. Kudos to them. The attached Marriott, everything was easy this year. Check-in was easy. I got the room I wanted. The attached Marriott seemed to be really organized this year and were prepared for the return of Otakon. The convention center was also ready. Everything was pretty well organized there. Lines seemed to move rather well this year. The facilities were prepared for Otakon. And there was even a little surprise. Ben's Chili Bowl opened their location outside of Hall D, right for the convention. Ben's Chili Bowl is a nice addition to the little food court there. It does help. The security check was well done. This year they switched to metal detectors, which worked a lot better. Basically, if you didn't set it off, you didn't get checked. It was super simple. There were only one or two little jam-ups throughout the weekend, and the people running them were very, very good. The people running the security checks were very pleasant, and it worked super well. Masks also worked super well. Everyone wore them. Everyone understood you had to wear them. Saw very few people not wearing them correctly, and it just worked well, and I hope a lot more cons use masks in the future. Dealers was better than expected. If you looked on the map, it looked like they lost a lot of dealers. In the end, they lost probably about 30% if you wanted my guess. You walk down there, it was the same old dealers hall, busy, lots of stock. It was great to see a lot of the dealers back, and it was a great shopping environment. I love that Discotech treats Otakon like the major convention it is. A lot of other industry partners don't do that. They go to the other big conventions. Instead, Discotech comes here loaded for bear. They bring the best announcements. They have great staff that works the event. They bring a great booth in the dealer's room. And Discotech had great announcements, and I'm so glad they continue to return to Otakon. The attendees this year were great. Everyone seemed to get along. There was a lot of cooperation. It seemed like there was a lot less mean people this year. And everybody just seemed to be happy to be at a convention, and I loved it. Attendance ended up being amazing. There was talk amongst people before the con. They'll be lucky to get 5,000, 10,000, maybe 5,000 only. One of the magazines posted that Otakon was expected to have 14,000 people, which would have been great. Otakon blew the numbers out of the water with 25,000 attendees. Absolutely amazing. Good for Otakon. Good punch in the arm. Just reinforced how well this event went. For the bad, what was absolutely terrible? Nothing. There wasn't anything that bad. For the ugly, what should have been better? Friday's on-site food was a hot mess. I went down to the convention center thinking I'll grab something quick from one of the stands down there. Literally by 8:30, everything was closed. There was nothing open. So good luck to anybody that needed food on site. Now, thankfully, Otakon does have many options outside of it. The DC area around the convention center has lots of great food options, but there should have been something open late Friday. Now, Saturday, they did not have this problem. A lot of the stands were open pretty late on Saturday. Otakon didn't have a rave this year, but they had a dance, and the communication around it was terrible. I wandered down to the video game room around 10:30-ish on Friday, and the dance looked like a middle school dance with the amount of attendance there was. Simply, the dance wasn't communicated, and I can kind of get why Otakon might have not done this, but really there should have been more communication with it. Saturday was a little more active, but still, it wasn't the rave. I'm looking forward to the rave returning next year, pending everything is safe with COVID. Otakon needs to improve their outside signage. The outside signage is a real problem. I had a friend literally get lost, and he's a con veteran. He knows this stuff. He was at the Sbarro and could not figure out how to get back in the convention center. He accidentally exited somehow. I was able to go get him. I will say one thing, the GPS, especially Google Maps, does not work the best around the convention center sometimes. I'd love to see signage out on the street saying, this way to Otakon's main entrance. I hope they do that, or it might be time to consider opening a third entrance. Right now, there are only 2 entrances and basically exits to the convention center, the main one in the front and through the Marriott. I'd like to see this improved. The food prices and quality were a big issue in the convention center. I love Firehouse subs. I don't have a lot near me. Most of them have closed. Firehouse makes a great sub, except in the convention center. It cost me $16 for a hook and ladder, one of their famous subs, and it was terrible. It was not good. I ate it almost laughing at how bad it was. Firehouse needs to really reconsider their deal with the Walter E. Washington Convention Center, because if they're going to serve food that bad, Firehouse's name should not be on it. I'm not sure the Walter E. Washington has the best plan for food service, frankly. Overall, Otakon was a huge success. It was a little bit unexpectedly a huge success, but everything went super well. It also reinforced why Washington, D.C. is the right place for Otakon. This is where it needs to be. Baltimore, unfortunately, has to be forgotten. The convention center is never going to get fixed. Washington just works so much better for Otakon. Space, food, safety, everything is much better. What do I give this convention? I have to give this convention an A for what they dealt with, for what was on the line. Otakon executed and achieved. They deserve the A. This might be the greatest Otakon they've ever held for what they were facing. Thanks for watching.